Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Good morning, it's August 15th, and it's Monday, and it's the start of a very wet work week. Unfortunately, after we had over 10 inches of rain actually in parts of Long Island, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of rain over much of New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania, we have more rain on the way. As you can see, rain is rapidly developing throughout New Jersey. It's moving throughout Long Island and Connecticut. This portion is part of the warm sector of the storm. This is the back of the storm, or the comma head part of the storm, which I'll show in just a minute. So we're dealing with another round of rainfall throughout the northern Mid-Atlantic today. And someone's going to end up with over a foot of rain by the time this entire storm is over, likely around western Long Island by the time this is all said and done. So how much rain has fallen? Well, these are observations and estimates of the rainfall. And for the Philadelphia metropolitan area, we looked at anywhere from 3 inches to about almost 8 inches, almost 10 inches of rain over portions of southwestern New Jersey on through northeastern New Jersey. As you moved north and west towards northeastern Pennsylvania, rainfall amounts fell to under an inch, and along the immediate New Jersey coast, southern New Jersey coast, rainfall amounts range from about half an inch, a quarter of an inch to an inch of rain. This location right here missed out on the worst, as a strong banding of rainfall started to set up in this portion of New Jersey. And as we move towards Upton, towards the New York City metropolitan area, we can also see just incredibly impressive rainfall amounts throughout the entire New York City metropolitan area. Again, over 10 inches of rain fell in portions of southern Queens. It's not showing up on here very well, but we have the official observations, and it's just extremely impressive rainfall. Basically, we don't have to worry about a drought anymore over the New York City or Philadelphia metropolitan area. So let's take a look at the observations. You see our new coastal low has developed and is starting to organize itself off the New Jersey coast. As a result, rainfall is starting to break out throughout eastern Pennsylvania and much of New Jersey. Meanwhile, a warm front's right here, and as a result, we got all of our heavy rain setting up over southern New England down through Long Island. Now, what's interesting is that 850 millibars, our new 850 millibar low is starting to develop. As you can see, it's not very impressive at this time, but the storm is in the formative stages. Basically, transition to the coast is starting to intensify, and you can see at the moisture transport, you can see why all the heavy rain is located over New England down through Long Island, because this is where the strongest moisture advection is. Meanwhile, on the backside, we're starting to get some dry air work in, so the rainfall is more scattered in nature, but there's still a few bands of heavier rainfall to contend with throughout today into the evening hours. Now, this water vapor satellite picture is incredibly impressive for this time of year. You can clearly see the upper level disturbance associated with our new coastal low diving through Virginia and will eventually move through the southern Mid-Atlantic and off along the New Jersey coast. As a result, that's why we're starting to see lifting increase in this area with the rainfall developing. And you could actually see towards the end of this, I'll stop right here, you can see some of the banding starting to develop on the backside of this low pressure system as it starts to lift to the northeast. So we're dealing with a very impressive storm. Again, very heavy rainfall. Here's where your strongest moisture advection is for today. Connecticut, central and eastern Long Island, looking for another 1 to 3 inches of rain, if not more, and heavier downpours. Again, this moisture feed is coming from the tropical Atlantic, and that's why the rainfall is so heavy. There are some questions about, well, if this was winter, how much snow would fall? If this was winter and you had a tropical air mass trying to invade the northern Mid-Atlantic, snow would not be falling. It would be rain. So it's not really comparable. But clearly we are dealing with a very impressive rainfall event throughout the northern Mid-Atlantic. Pull out a little bit and you can see the water vapor for the entire nation. Now, here we have Tropical Storm Girth, and it is moving to the northeast, and it will eventually become entrained in this storm and intensify a powerful negative NAO pattern over the northern Atlantic. The model guidance is having a difficult time picking up on this threat. It typically does with tropical systems, but that's why I expect this low pressure system developing over the northern plains will be a bit of a bother for Friday and Saturday as it moves towards the Great Lakes and dives south towards the northern Mid-Atlantic for Friday and Saturday. Model guidance is already showing the threat for scattered showers, but I think we're looking at another potential rainstorm again for the end of the week into the start of the weekend because of the interaction of these storms blocking up the pattern and slowing this low pressure system down. That's why I'm not going over the model guidance today, because it's really not picking up on this threat very well, but we've seen it before, and to be honest, the last tropical storm, Franklin, interacted with another area of low pressure that passed off the east coast, intensified, blocked up the pattern, and that's why we had this rainstorm. So we're dealing with another pattern similar to that towards the end of this week with this area of low pressure and this disturbance. So it's going to be something to watch for. For now, I have scattered showers in the forecast. It could be something a little bit more impressive. We'll have to sit back and really see. As for the rest of the week, for the most part, Wednesday and Thursday is going to be relatively nice days with temperatures near normal. We're not going to be above normal with this type of weather pattern whatsoever. So expect temperatures in the lower to mid 80s for the most part, and a few upper 70s along the coast. And the threat for rainfall will return again for later on in the week. Now, I just want to drop down to the tropics real quick. Obviously, here's our tropical storm, Girth. Yep, that's its name. I checked. And this is going to lift off to the northeast and again become entrained in this storm leaving the east coast now. We have another disturbance to the south of our tropical storm that I don't think really has much of a shot because the outflow from Girth is going to limit the development of this disturbance. But this one over here, now this one we're going to keep an eye on because it has plenty of convection. It did have a low level center coming off of the African coast a couple of days ago, and I think one could redevelop again. Now, typically we don't see development in this portion of the Caribbean Sea, but normally we can see that happening in the Central Caribbean and Western Caribbean. And I think we're going to have to keep an eye on this disturbance once it reaches these locations later on this week. And of course, in this type of pattern, well, it would miss this trough and would be capable of having some impacts in the Gulf Coast if it develops. So we're going to keep an eye on this. This should be interesting. So that's the weather forecast for today. Again, stay safe with this heavy rainfall. This is not something to contend with because with this type of heavy rainfall and what's already been falling over the northern mid-Atlantic the past 24 to 36 hours, roads will be washed out and flash flooding will be a significant problem. Do not drive in submerged roads because those roadways may be deeper in the water than you think. So stay safe out there. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. To find the latest weather information and severe weather coverage, always trust in NYNJPAweather.com or find NYNJPA Weather on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.